thing, we want we want to make sure that this is the Global Freedom Rising team. Myself, Miss Tannisha Galispie, Mr. Steph McNeal, and Mr. White. We do this because we love our community, but we also want to share the education. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, we want you to set that aside for just a few minutes while we bring a presentation to give you the ability to inform and educate. Because we want to know one thing: with all thy getting, get a better understanding. And we're here to do that. So, with no further ado, I have the distinct pleasure of presenting somebody who's really near and dear to me. He's an exceptional man, he's an exceptional father, he's an exceptional husband, but he's also a man of God. And we know for a fact he's been here every week and he has been giving us a roadmap on things of the past. So, with no further ado, my good friend, Mr. Charles White and Mr. Steph McGill are going to do a small, short presentation, and we're going to try and see if we can get maybe a couple answers at the end to try and educate you better on this platform of Gold Standard Partners, which is a derivative of Gold Standard Bank. All that is going to be explained to you. This is a blockchain fintech company, and we want you to definitely designate pen, a piece of paper, write some, we like to say, some notes down. And we also want you to take heed into what's being offered to you and to the public. This is a presentation for the educational purposes to bring you an enlightenment of the blockchain, smart contract, how to employ your money, but also how to take those rewards and use them to do things within your family. So my good friend, Mr. Steph McNeal, who has been married for over 35 years to Bonnie, they have 6 children, 5 boys, 1 girl, 7 grandkids with one on the way. Mr. McNeal, given that he has the big responsibility to set the stage for Mr. White, is going to tell us a little bit about history. And with that history, you're probably going to remember a few things that had been mentioned way probably before you were born. Some of us, if you were 18 to 30, some of these you probably won't even have a knowledge of. But we're going to bring you up to speed on what the technology has done in the evolution and what has been offered to us at a time like this. So, with no further ado, I have the distinct pleasure of presenting my good brother, Mr. International Executive, Mr. Steph McNeal, who hails from the great state of Chicago, Illinois, and he lives now with me in Washington State. And soon we will be traveling to Atlanta, Georgia for the Let's Go Weekend 12. If you don't have your tickets, I'm gonna give you a shout out on that. If you don't have your tickets, please go to get your tickets. We will obviously give you the information how to get that ticket and acquire that. But with no further ado, I have the distinct pleasure to introduce to some and present to others my good friend, my mentor and brother, Mr. Steph McNeal. You can unmute yourself and you now have the mic.
Man, Mr. Greene, it is hot up in here. Whew. And I just found a cool spot in the pool room, well, the living room downstairs here. My office is, I was sitting there like a frog for the last couple hours, didn't realize how hot it had gotten around me, like a frog in a bowl. It's some boiling water. It's nice and cool. All of a sudden it gets hot. You don't realize how hot it is until I stepped out. And oh man, so anyway, I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be on this Zoom. And thank you very much, Mr. Greene, for the introduction. And kudos to you too, man, for doing what you do, crushing the business, helping everybody build their business and be successful. And just having a true commitment to see other people win and doing it your own self in a great, great way. And so I am honored to be able to be on the team with you as well, bro. Thank you. And Mr. White, I do just want to say congratulations to Mr. Continental Executive for August, mid-month, the Continental Executive. That's a huge accomplishment. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can put some pluses and some high fives in the chat for Mr. Johnny Greene, as well as Executive Mr. Charles White, as well as Tannisha hitting Executive at the mid-month. That is for those of you who are new, you may not understand that, but just know it's a heck of an accomplishment that the company did for us and opened the door for us to be able to achieve something. We were just excited to hit it in 30 days. And they made an enhancement to the comp and paid us more money if you can hit it, those same ranks that we were already grateful for by the 15th of the month, mid-month. You think about that. It's just been amazing. So congratulations to you all. And it's great for me to be able to align and build with you all on the team as well. I'm so grateful and thankful. So like Mr. Johnny Greene Jr. has said, to really help understand this space, we're going to walk you through just a little bit of a journey, and I'll pass this baton over to Mr. White. But I want you to kind of understand what I went through, the mental gymnastics, as I was trying to figure out how to understand this space of blockchain technology and crypto. When I was first exposed to it back in 2009, it absolutely made no sense to me. I was very, very new to the space. It was new to our world, actually. And in 2009, 47 cents a coin, I had a chance to get some Bitcoin. And I said no, because it just didn't make any sense. 2 years later, 2009, another buddy of mine gave me a call to say, Stefan, the future money is here, man. Have you heard of Bitcoin? I said, yes, I have. He said, did you get any? I said, nope. And he said, man, send me $2,000. Let's get you started. It's going to be the future, Steph. No mess with it. Just let it sit. And I said, let me ask you a couple of questions. I said, man, Chris, what do you know who the founder is? He said, yeah, his name is Satoshi Nakamoto, but Steph, no one's ever met him. I said, no one's ever met him. He said, yep. I said, what about corporate headquarters? And maybe we can do a value line study on that. And, I've had owned a couple of, insurance companies as agency owner. So I kind of had a feel for corporate structure. And he said, no, man, there's no corporate headquarters. I said, is it backed by any government or military? He said, no, no precious metals. Nope. I said, Chris, I'm not sending you a nickel, dude. I am not letting you beat me. And we started laughing. But I was serious. I made an emotional decision. I didn't do any homework or do any research. That was 2009 and 11. It was 10 years later before Dr. Best gave me a call, and I had another situation that happened that awakened my mindset. And he said, Steph, the future money's here, man. Bitcoin thing it's not going away. It's going to be the future. Let's go. I said, what do you need me to do? I didn't ask any questions because of who Dr. Best was to me, knowing how he operates in absolute 100, 2000% integrity at all times. I just trusted. I knew he'd done all the hard, heavy lifting in terms of vetting. And I said, what I need to do to get started. And then I did homework. And what I discovered was amazing. And I went on a quest to try to figure out, God, how do we explain this or share this with people where they don't miss the message because of the messenger? Some of us on this Zoom, people know us as salesmen or women, and we always got something great. And it's always the latest, greatest thing, better than the last latest, greatest thing, right? And so they see us coming. And I didn't want that to happen because I missed it. And so this whole idea of economies of time that Mr. Greene mentioned in terms of history, where there's a change in the marketplace, where products and services that are created or invented that change the way we do life. And we've lived through a ton of those. Some of us are old enough to remember when we didn't have the internet. Some of you are old enough when you maybe didn't have Facebook, or all of a sudden now you got IG. So you've lived through that, whether you're 50 or you're 25. You still live through some technological advancements that change the way you do business, make your life more effective and efficient, or whatever you do. So when you look at Web 1.0, we look at some of the companies that didn't exist 20, 30 years ago, 15 years ago. You look at Yahoo, Google, MSN. These are iconic brands today that once never happened. And they would have never happened because of this new invention called the internet. Had it not been for the internet, which changed the way we do life, these companies would not exist, at least not in this form. Web 2.0, the same thing. Messenger, IG, Facebook, Amazon Web Service, Uber, right? A real estate company that has no office. Get a load of that. Think about that. It's not a real estate, but the automobiles, doesn't own any cars. Same thing in Airbnb doesn't own any real estate, but it's one of the largest real estate holdings on the planet. So we think about technology changing the way we do life. Once you understand we've lived through those, and now Web 3.0 is doing the exact same thing. And so to help bring that home even more, some of you who are younger can remember maybe the boombox, maybe the camcorder, cassette, MP3 player, changing the way we do life, right? Cassette players. It changed the way we did life, right? We had fun with those things. I remember recording my kids' football games or graduation through, first grade or whatever it was, middle school and then high school. And then this gentleman here with his incredible genius as an entrepreneur, but also genius in terms of intellectual prowess with his other engineers, they created an opportunity, a program to put some of the software pieces you see here, design into the software and put it all on this phone. Everything here can be found on this small device because of innovation. And so it's amazing to see how we've lived through those time frames. And as we look now, some of us concerned about the prices of goods and services, gas prices. And this is what is happening to us right now. We go back to 1980. Some of us can remember $20 bill got us a lot of groceries, right? 2000, that same $20 bill got us some groceries, is pretty good. Now, 2023, $20 doesn't go as far. You don't get as much groceries, you don't get as much gas in your car. Why? The purchasing power of the dollar is diminishing and declining, as Mr. White would say. It is happening right before our eyes. As you can look at, some of us can remember buying cereal boxes where they used to be kind of tall and thick. Well, now they're short, right? And thin, but they cost more. So I'm buying less of whatever it is and spending more money, purchasing power declining and dwindling. Bitcoin, however, has gone the opposite way. And so we look at Bitcoin and we look at this incredible challenge. Change we had since 2011, where you could see one Bitcoin only got you a few groceries. Remember, I got exposed to it as $1.12. $1.12. 10 years later, Bitcoin now, at 10 years later, that same Bitcoin could buy you a car. And the projections are in the next 7 years that one Bitcoin can buy you a house. We look at currency, and whether it's paper or digital, you can see it going two different directions. Which direction would you go? And as we get through these slides, we want to help you bring this home even more. We look at what the banks are doing. This gentleman here, Mr. Jamie Dimon, he made a statement back in September 12th, 2017. He made the statement that Bitcoin is a fraud and will eventually blow up. No good. That's what he said. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be something that's going to be around too much longer. That same bank, that same CEO to this day, just 2 months ago, JP Morgan Chase, the same bank, the same CEO, now coming up with their own blockchain payment system in Euro. And they're expanding even more into various blockchain and crypto projects. Fidelity, BlackRock. BlackRock's a $98 trillion company, one of the top 3, I believe, on the planet. And now they're filing to be able to offer a Bitcoin ETF or other cryptos in this. It's happening right before our eyes. You see the highest echelon of the financial services industry moving into space with major dollars. Europe, some of the biggest banks adding support for Bitcoin and Ethereum projects. You can look at these banks on this slide: Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, BNY Mellon. That's our country's and North America's oldest bank. Citigroup is another name and brand, iconic brand that we all know, love, and trust. UOB out of Singapore, HSSB, primarily located in the United Kingdom and China. These banks spanning different continents across the pond are all going all in, 10 toes down in this blockchain space. We are a blockchain company. Our founder comes from the banking industry as well as a real estate mogul, Mr. Joseph Haidt. Very humble beginnings. This gentleman comes from a family that experienced some really tough situations as he was a young lad in formerly Yugoslavia, where they experienced a civil war between the Serbians and the Bosnians, and they found themselves canvassing along the mountainside and surviving as a refugee. Went over to Germany is where they landed, and anyway, fast forward to where by the age of 45 he had already made his first billion. So this gentleman is building a company with I call an immigrant's mentality and heart. Like I mentioned earlier, on the mid-month bonus, he gave us more money earlier. Who does that kind of stuff? but this company is here for the people. Goldman Sachs, they're predicting over a billion more users going to flood the market. And it's happening. It's going to happen in big time, in real time. BlackRock's game changing, which I mentioned earlier, with their Bitcoin ETF. When the top dog is making a paradigm shift, that's a clue, hint. And where we save our money in trust, put our money in the banks, when every one of those at the highest level, not 100% yet, but they're going into this blockchain and crypto space. And then Uncle Ray and Aunt Susie and maybe pastors are still saying, stay away from that. It's a scam. Well, they're operating on old information, just like I was, just like Jamie Dimon, a CEO of one of the largest financial companies on the planet. And so we've had a chance to change our mind. We're encouraging you to get back with the person that got you on this Zoom and ask some more questions. But I'm going to encourage you, and I'm not a financial planner, I'm giving financial advice. I'm encouraging you to get in like yesterday, figure this thing out, do your own homework, because it is happening in real time. Bitcoin is making a resurgence. We're seeing it right now in real time. It's happening. The EU is going to allow banks to hold 2% of their cap. That's big. That's a big move in Bitcoin and other crypto projects. And so we see a lot of changes that are happening right now. We see things talking about being broke, and in terms of defining what that means. It's shattered, separated to pieces. The results of shock or strain. Our economy is in shock. It's in strain. There's a lot of things happening, but it's a global issue, and it's happening in real time right before our eyes. And so where you possibly see in other countries where their money or currency, fiat currency, becoming moneyless. Mr. White does a phenomenal job talking about. So when we think about supply chains being broken, and then the medical systems being broken, trust in media, we know what's happening there with fake news, broke. Approval ratings, everything has changed historically, broke. Inflation, things are everywhere and in disarray. And it's like a quiet storm happening right before our eyes. And so really think about the fact that you have an opportunity to do some inventory and look at what we're having. And as I close out, we see Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, some of the bills that are being passed that really kind of help us in this space where we see the FIT Act. So to help increase innovation in technology, 21st century. It is happening, and it's a slow pace, but it's happening in real time. And I want to encourage you to really look at this space. And as I pass this baton over to Mr. Charles White, this gentleman has done some tremendous things for those of you who are new to this Zoom. He's got over 41 years of financial services industry and at the highest levels of leadership. He's led several large Midwestern insurance companies. He's led teams of over 20,000 in terms of managers of various different banks and VPs. He has a wealth of knowledge in this space. He and his wife, Gail, hail from Dallas, Texas, where they live now currently. He's a man after God's own heart. And he's another guy wired like Mr. Greene, and a lot of you leaders on this Zoom and others where you really love to help and serve other people. We've been blessed to be able to learn from him every single time that he gets the mic. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass this baton over to my friend and brother, Mr. Charles White. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. McNeal. You're don't go away, because I want to don't turn your camera off, because I want to I'm going to do something a little different, because I asked people to bring their young people tonight, and for a reason. I want to talk a little bit about Web 3.0. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about Web 3.0. You brought it up, but I have a short video that I want to play. And I want the young people to see this as a connector piece, because they may not, they may never have seen some of the things that you just talked about. They may not understand or make any sense to them some of the things that I'm going to talk about a little later. But this should hit home for them, because I'm going to talk about the metaverse. And you know who I'm going to let do the talking for me? Lydia. You know who Lydia is?
Yes.
Do you believe that there's a Lydia on this call tonight? So I'm really honored, Lydia, to have you with us. And if you're not over 30, you better talk to Miss Galispie. Send Miss Galispie an internal message and let her know how old you are. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen if I can find it. There it is. Got to hit the punch the sound button and share that and make it big. Let's do that.
Welcome to Lydian World, the place where you can earn, learn, and have fun. You still wonder how Lydian World is able to generate sustainable income for its players? Let's dive together into how the rewards are generated and distributed in Lydian World. There are multiple income resources streaming rewards into the Lydian World. The rewards are generated thanks to the fees applied to each service or product behind an incoming resource, such as staking pools, credit card swipe commissions, mining fields, assisted trading, non-fungible tokens marketplace, airdrops, and much more. But let's take a concrete example. Meet Lydia. Lydia lives in France and she's an artist. She's one of the extremely engaged users in the products and services offered or affiliated to Lydian World. A regular day for Lydia starts with a breakfast, so she pays for it using her credit card. Each time Lydia is using it, a portion of the fees are distributed to all the French citizens in the Lydian World, according to their position. Hey, sorry, are you Lydia? Seems she's a bit too concentrated. Of course, she's playing our trivia blockchain connected game inside of the popular chat app Telegram, available for millions of users. Each time Lydia answers the questions correctly, the game generates profit coins from other players, and a portion of them are sent back again to the French citizens in the Lydian World. For Lydia, this is not just a game. For her, Lydian World is the place where she now sells her art to millions of users. I know, you already understood how it works. Of course, a small fee for her art Lydia just sold has been again distributed to all the French citizens of the Lydian World. You see? It's that simple. You aren't forced to engage if you want to generate. It's up to you. A citizenship will do it for you. Oops, sorry about that. We warned you. Day and night rewards are flowing in.
I just want to talk about that a little bit, Mr. McNeal, before I go into this big part of this presentation. The interesting thing about this is that what we're about to talk about is the key to getting into Lydian World. You know that the certificate program that we have is the key to getting into Lydian World. And we never talk about Lydian World. But if you're a young person, you know, I think about passive residual income. Passive residual income. As a young person, if you can build passive residual income doing the things that you love to do, you'll never have to work, because all you'll do is continue to build your passive residual income, and it'll pay for your expenses. Now, Mr. McNeal, there was a Lydian World payout here. This, if you haven't looked, there was a Lydian World payout here sometime this week, because I went into my account and I had been paid a lot of money. For what I did, because I haven't even looked in my account, but I have citizenships. I have some ranking positions. And so when I looked in there and I found about $1,000 for this month, I thought, wow. My friend Joel Gay, who is an ambassador, global ambassador, is somewhere in the $14,000 to $17,000 per month range in Lydian World, just receiving passive residual income. That means I haven't been doing my work right. I've been focused on the certificates. I love the certificates. I've built wealth with the certificates, but I need to get back into Lydian World and make sure that I am building passive residual income, lasting, permanent, passive residual income. So that's what I want to talk about. That's Web 3.0. You brought it up. This is a classic example We've got it. You talk about Web 3.0, we've got Web 3.0.
Preach, preach.
We got it. Mr. Greene, what are you thinking? Give me something here.
I think what people don't understand is
Pardon?
really the goal is to have as many citizenships in the Lydian world as possible. You said something that, and we try not to vomit on new people, but try
Right.
thinking we're saving them for not telling them too much information up front. But I think we shoot our own selves in the foot, because what you just said there makes the most sense. The individual who's looking for passive residual income won't have to work because the money's working for them.
Oh
So
my,
the
Mr. Greene, that's
ultimate goal,
it. You just hit it, man.
that's the ultimate goal. You want your money working for you, and the easiest way is get into the Lydian world so the Lydian world can pay you passive residual income. He already said, and you just I'm gonna quote you verbatim. Joe Gay, a global ambassador, already being paid $14,000 to $17,000 a month with no work on his behalf. All he has to do is continue to breathe and get up, and he'll make the money. Doesn't matter if he works or not. Back to you.
So this is, you know, I love this discussion. Can you name another group of people who have passive residual income?
Besides GSP, there's a
Yeah,
whole
I
lot.
mean, like, go ahead.
I don't want to talk about them because this is all about GSP and what GSP could do
I
for
know,
me.
but if I just wanted to make a comparison so that people could understand what we're talking about.
Yes. Passive residual incomes with people, somebody such as in the insurance brokerage sector. It'd be somebody that's in the sector of something like life insurance.
Music
Somebody that
artists
music artists,
come
they
to
get
mind.
royalties. They get
They
royalties.
get
Yes.
royalties. And so
Mhm.
I think about Michael Jackson. He had a conversation with the Beatles. Okay. And the Beatles told him, I believe it was either George Harrison or Ringo Starr told him, always own your, that's right, OB, or is that QB, OB, QB? That's right, book authors. So it's something you do. Once you do it, you just keep getting paid for it. Then your family gets paid for it. Michael Jackson's family is getting paid for the music he made. But the Beatles told him to always own your music. And you know what he did? He went and bought the Beatles music. Did you know that, Mr. Greene?
Bought their catalog. Yes, he
He
did.
bought their music catalog. So not only is his family getting paid off his music catalog, they're getting paid off the Beatles music catalog too. He owns it all. All right, I'm done with this. Passive residual income, that's what we're all about. And so if you hear me talking about other stuff tonight, understand that the primary objective is to get passive residual income in a currency that's not US dollars, because the value of dollars is declining and dwindling. I figured this out when I went to the silver store, and the guy at the silver store gave me a $50 piece. It was pre-1963. Now, what's important about that, Mr. Greene? Pre-1963. In 1963, they started taking our silver $50 and minting it, but minting in copper, but wrapping it in silver. That was a devaluation. So he gave me a pre-1963 $50. And this was the best thing he could have done for me, because it was a prime illustration about the declining and dwindling of our currency. That silver $50, that's pure silver, is worth $14. Today, it's worth $14. If you go pick up a $50 that's wrapped in that copper, the copper wrapped in silver, it's worth a $50. Can you see what's happened to our money? it's devalued and continues to devalue. It continues to decline and dwindle. Okay, enough of this. I'm going into this presentation. I appreciate y'all coming. If you are between the ages of 18 and 30, type me in the chat. Type me in the chat. Miss Gillespie, I know you're here. Lydia, I'm happy to have you here. If you're between 18 and 30, type me in the chat. One of you tonight is going to win a Metaverse Elemental certificate with a value of $250. I don't know how we're going to give it to you yet, but somebody is going to win that. All right. If it's Lydia, just based on your name, if you're between 18 and 30, you're the winner. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. PowerPoint share.
And before you do that, Mr. White, I just wanted to say one thing. I was making reference
every
to
day, everywhere in the
making reference to some of the people that have achieved, and I never get a chance to look at the participants until after I'm done. And I just saw Mr. Michael Dalcoe down there, and I just wanted to highlight the fact that he achieved the Crown Ambassador. We were talking about executives and continentals and national Crown Ambassador in the first 15 days, as well as his wife Manisha becoming global in the first 15 days. I don't know if that has happened in the company yet before, where you're in the same household, somebody achieving that crown and global in the first 15 days. This is amazing achievement. I just thought I'd be remiss in not acknowledging.
Well, is he here?
Our plan.
Is he here?
He was there when I just looked. He may.
Mr. Dalcoe, if you're here, raise your hand. We'd love to hear from you before I even get started. There he is. No, it's moving. People are still coming in here.
No, that's him. That's him. Let's go ahead and unmute him. Ask to unmute and give him. See.
Yes, if I can find him.
There you go. He's here.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for the acknowledgement. It is breathtaking what's happening with this company. I have no words. I was going to do a live stream on this subject right here, but I'm going to try it out on y'all. And because I can start literally burst out in tears about this. I'm listening to Charles White, and my wife and I love Charles, and he's a favorite speaker of ours. We said Charles is one of the best motivators in the world, and I don't know how he does this, but he stays so calm. He sits right there, very little arm movement. He just blows your hair back with facts. It's just so motivating. I mean, his level of knowledge of this industry, and to be so fired up about this company with that level of financial acumen, it just messes me up. And we're sitting here and we're watching all this happen. And I just said, wow, I don't even know how to accept how good this company is. I get it when people say this is too good to be true. And so I was going to say on the live stream, my unfair advantage. And here's my live stream. I'm still going to do it because it's burning in my heart. My unfair advantage. I'm a Bible reader, so excuse the Bible reference for those of you that are not believers.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dalcoe, you're in a space where you can say, you can say anything you want to say because I open the line.
Thank you, Charles.
And don't ever apologize in front of me about giving a Bible, please.
Okay. Thank you for that, Charles. So there's a scripture that says, who have seen and believe. And then it goes on to say, more blessed are they who have not seen and yet believe. I'm the guy who saw it. So of course I believe. I was right there. I was there. I called Mr. Height and asked him, could we do this? Of course I believe. I was on all the legal calls. I was there when they told us we could and couldn't do this and couldn't do that and we shouldn't do this and you got to change that. I was there on all those calls. I was at every meeting. I was there in Dubai when we first launched. I was one of about 24 people in the room. Of course I'm fired up. You guys weren't there. And y'all are as fired up as me. Everything you've seen me do, you ought to start running around your house like your butt is on fire, because you're going to have more success than us. That's all I'm going to say for now. I'll expand on it when I do the live stream. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Mr. Dalcoe. I'm sorry I didn't notice you coming in. I was engaged in this Lydian world discussion, but we want you to know this is your community. We want you to know, number one, how proud we are of you. We're proud of you, and we're proud of Mrs. Dalcoe. We're proud of the both of you. That we are trying to follow in your footsteps. It's hard to do because you're moving so fast. But believe me, everybody on here, Ms. Galispie, Mr. Greene, and Mr. McNeal and I are doing everything we can. We can't catch you, but we can certainly, you know how a race car goes and you get behind the race car and you kill some of that drag. We're trying to get in there and kill some of that drag right behind you. So I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on and speaking with us tonight. I'm going to start this presentation, and I've already started it talking about Lydia. We've got a Lydia on tonight. We're really pleased to meet you, Lydia. And there's some people in here who are between the ages of Mr. Dalcoe. Could I ask you to come back for one more minute? We've got people between the ages of 18 and 30 on here who really need to understand why we would call them out. Why is this important for a person between 18 and 30 to get an understanding of this? Okay, do you have another minute? He may be gone.
No,
All
here I am.
Okay.
I couldn't unmute myself.
All right, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right. So yeah, here's the deal. So my wife and I don't know how you're pushing my hot buttons like this, Mr. White. It's like you've been hanging out at the Dalcoe residence. Listen, guys, listen. My wife and I are on this crusade right now for young people.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we want everybody, of course, but we're on this crusade right now for young people. Why? And when I say young, I'm thinking ages 20 to like 35, maybe close right at 40. I'm at the tail end of the baby boomer generation. I'm 60 years old next year. I was born in 1964. The boomers are the people born from 1942 to 1964. I'm on the tail end of the boomers. Interesting thing happening with the boomers. We're taking care of our parents because they're in their late 70s, early 80s, and possibly even early 90s. So the boomers are taking care of their parents. The parents are moving in with the boomers. The boomers have all the money because we got in there when inflation was relatively low, salaries were decent, we had pensions, and we the early boomers, the 42 to maybe 50 something, they had pensions, and so they were able to amass a bit of a nest egg. The late boomers, our pensions ran out and they put us in 401k. So a lot of the boomers are doing pretty well financially, fairly stable. So we're taking care of our parents because our parents are getting feeble and their cycle of life is decreasing, they're expiring. But what's worse is the generations after us, the millennials, the Gen Xers, and the Gen Zers. They are in major trouble. I can't even tell you how much trouble that generation is in. And it's not totally of their making. They had a couple of things that's working against them. Number one, they watch their parents work very hard and accumulate almost nothing. They see their parents work and welcome to Walmart. They see their parents going back to work because we got to take care of parents. And, we're trying to survive and outlive our money. Inflation is rampant. Salaries and wages are flat. And they're going to college and education is more expensive. So your education costs about 30 times more than it did for us. And you're going to get a degree to make less money than we made. So they're looking at us going, I'm not doing that. So they're not motivated to go to work. And so then we're coming down on them, calling them lazy. And I don't know if they're lazy or are they just really smart and they're not about it. They're not trying to do that 40-40-40 plan. They see it didn't work. So why would they do it? So they just like putting pressure on their parents. It's like, hey, you just got to take care of me, Dad. Mom, you just got to take care of me till we figure out our path in life. And There is no path except the one we're looking at right now, network marketing, and something like GS Partners, where you can put some money to work and that money keeps growing and you double, 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 and you get what you and Johnny were just saying, the passive residual. Because here's the other thing about that generation behind us. They grew up where you can see people on the phone. There's no such world as a world without social media. So they got the pressure of lifestyle and they want it. And here's the good news. You deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve to live a good life. Where is this whole idea of that the industrial age should permeate the information age? Why are we trying to cross those two ages? We're trying to make our kids who were born in the greatest technological age ever try to live on industrial age ideas. It's wrong. It's wrong. And parents, I might be talking to one of y'all right now. Lay off your kids a little bit. Let God lead you how to raise your kids. I'm not telling you how to raise your children, but listen to what I'm saying. Don't be so hard on these kids. Don't be so hard on them. Empathize a little bit. They catching hell. They catching straight hell. Right? They want to go see Beyonce. The ticket's $2,000. They don't make any money at McDonald's. They go to school for a degree and get out and got to compete with more people than ever on a job that pays less than ever in a lifestyle that costs 3 times more than ever. It's diabolical. They need us. They need all of us seniors, 40, 50, 60, 70, to teach them this path. And then they don't have the attention span to sit down long enough to listen to Charles White. How in the world are we going to save them? Man, we got to come up with ways to do. We got to learn their language, ladies and gentlemen. We got to learn Instagram. We got to learn how to do reels. We got to learn social media. We got to learn how to do YouTube shorts. We got to get to them in their language, or we're going to lose them. We're going to lose a whole generation. I'm crying out right now. I'm hurting. I wish he wouldn't have asked me about this. He straight pushed my #1 hot button. We got to help him.
There's a reason I asked you. There's a reason I asked you, because I just got back from a road trip and I saw young people, beautiful, brilliant young people. Brilliant, working in Starbucks.
Come on, man.
Working in McDonald's, working jobs where they have no hope of a future. No hope of a future. And you're right, it's criminal of what we're doing to our own children.
It is criminal, Mr. White, and their kids are our grandkids. So do we care about our lineage? Come on, y'all. This lady said something on Marlon Thorne's call tonight. I said, that's it. She said, when I looked at the presentation, I called all of my friends and I said, whatever we got to do, y'all got to listen to me, because this is going to change all our lives. I said, whoa, radical shift. This lady's not talking about hitting rank or making money. She's talking about saving lives.
Exactly.
Charles White, please don't call me back, bro. Please don't call me back.
I may have to call you back now. I may have to call you back. And, maybe you should come on here next Tuesday and talk to us again. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, brother.
Okay. Mr. McNeal, you stirred up a pot here, man. All right. Where was I? I was on this guy. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to play. You know what? This is Mrs. Dalcoe. Mrs. Dalcoe, I play this every week. We love it.
World. People wake up, get dressed, and head off to make a living, following the path they've chosen. But deep down inside, there's always a desire for a better way, a simpler way, a legitimate way to make more.
Well, we're going crazy here tonight. So you know what? That's okay, because we're here to talk about a way out. We're talking about a way out, but before you get a way out, you have to understand what's happening to you. And I go back to Thomas Jefferson. Let's go way back. Okay. There was a song that talked about that. Let's go way back. Do you recognize this man? This man is Thomas Jefferson. He is a spokesman for democracy, was an American founding father, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, and the 3rd president of the United States. from 1801 to 1809. And so the only reason I bring him up, okay, this is what he said. And, Mr. Dalcoe, you talked about, a scripture, but I'm going to talk about prophecy and being prophetic. This man was prophetic, because if you look at what he said and you look at what's happening, you'll see what I'm talking about. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, we haven't had real deflation yet, but you're about to see some real deflation. What happens when we have inflation and the Fed starts raising interest rates? That's the private bank he was talking about. Then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. Who is this guy? So we're going to go have a little progression of money in the United States. The Federal Reserve Act was passed by the 63rd Congress. Excuse me, President Woodrow Wilson on December 23rd, 1913. The law created the Federal Reserve System, the central banking system of the United States. They needed it because banks were failing and there was nothing to catch them. And so you'd see long lines of people. If one bank failed, everybody would go run on the rest of the banks to get their money out. They really, really needed something to backstop it. But they didn't keep it modernized. Okay, so I'll make that statement. So along with a new tax code. So, we're taxing people now. This is a tax code heavily favoring the wealthy and big business. Why? Because they wanted the wealthy and big business to create jobs so we workers could have some place to go work and earn money and pay taxes and pay for the government. That was the system they put in place. The Federal Reserve Act gave control of monetary policy in the United States to a private bank. The deceptively named Federal Reserve Bank is a private bank. So you look at it today, it is still a private bank. The gold standard. Until 1933, the United States operated on what is called the gold standard. The US dollar was pegged to gold at $20 per ounce. Following, that would be another clue that we're in trouble. So it used to be $20 per ounce. Now it's $2,000 per ounce. Okay. Following Britain's lead, President Franklin Roosevelt took the U.S. off the gold standard. Next, by executive order, he called for all the gold in the United States to be delivered to the Federal Reserve Bank at $20 per ounce. If he did that today, they'd probably start a civil war. Then he passed a law in Congress to raise the price of gold to $35 per ounce, allowing the Federal Reserve to print more money. See, you can manipulate things. If they wanted to go back on the gold standard, they've got enough gold. They've got enough gold, Mr. Dalcoe. What they have to do is raise the price of gold to cover the money they already printed. If they held all the gold, they might do that. But then some of us who are smart have been stacking gold and silver, you see. So why would they want to give us an advantage? I don't know. But that's one way out of this crisis. Raise the price of gold. And, you got gold in the vault. They've been stacking gold. The Federal Reserve has. The U.S. government doesn't have any, but the Federal Reserve has been stacking gold. This is a very complicated issue. Far be it from me to offer a solution. This is James Earl Carter, the 39th POTUS. POTUS means President of the United States. In 1978, Congress approved the Revenue Act of 1978, which allowed for 401k plans. Yay! Boo! This act was implemented in the spirit of the government giving employees options. You better be careful when the government starts giving you options for retirement outside of the standard pension plan. This act was the beginning of the end of pensions. As U.S. I'll bet you there's some people on this call who never even heard the word pension. As U.S. corporations in reality had lobbied Congress to shut down their pension plans because they were too expensive to administer, and the employer held all of the investment risk. Well, the employers also had the money to hire people to handle that. You didn't. You don't. Corporate America wanted a way to reduce costs and transfer the risk from the company onto the employee. So here's the difficulties with directed plans. From pension plan down to 401k is subject to market fluctuations. The 401k is locked up and tied up with the stock market. When the stock market is roaring and sailing off into space someplace, it's good. But the market does go down, like we've experienced the last 2.5 years, where we've been in a bear market, and we may still be in a bear market. We have these rolling crashes. Okay. So it's subject to market fluctuation. If you haven't looked at your 401k statement lately, go take a look. You know, you can get mad, but you can't withdraw from your 401k if you're still employed. You can't withdraw. I had this conversation with Mr. Dalcoe a few weeks ago. You can't withdraw from the regulations prohibit it. You can't withdraw from it, but you can borrow from it. Just want to make that statement. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not offering financial advice, but I'm just, you know, I used to manage this stuff. So yes, you can borrow from your 401k. You sure can. There's no income strategy on a 401k. So a pension, you know that on the first day of the month, they're going to get either mail you a check or deposit into your bank account today the money that you're due. The 401k has no income strategy. You get a lump sum of money and you have to deal with it. The problem is that you're limited by your mindset and your money management acumen. If you don't know how to manage money, if nobody ever taught you how to manage your money, people are failing with this in large and record numbers. They're failing with it. They're failing with how to manage it as it's growing. They're failing with it as the money is coming out. This thing is an unmitigated disaster. And the question I have for you, have you seen any homeless? Perhaps Mr. Jefferson was right. I know what you're saying. Why am I here? The opportunity is bigger than you think. These are questions you may be asking yourself. Is my money or is my deposit safe? Is my money guaranteed? Does the FDIC fully insure all my deposits? Yeah, they do if you have it in a bank. But you know what? The FDIC is broke. The federal government is broke. So yes, your deposits are insured by somebody who you're broke Uncle Sam. Who is this company? I'll tell you. Who are the people conducting this meeting? What will I gain by fully participating? The first thing I want to talk about, I was a banker for years and years and years. And I think there's some things that you need to know, okay? Forgive me, but this is, the stability of the United States is wrapped up in the banks and the insurance companies, okay? More so in the banks, but also in the insurance companies. If the banks go belly up, that means our currency goes belly up, that means we're in trouble. If people run on the banks, we were in Wells Fargo today. I'm calling names now. And you had to make an appointment to do a wire transfer to take money out of there. Why do you think that is? You have to make an appointment because they have so many people taking money out that you have to make an appointment. There's literally a run, a silent run on Wells Fargo and Chase. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they don't pay interest. Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America don't pay interest. Citibank, they don't pay interest. If you got 0.001 on your statement that says what you got nothing. Literally nothing. And so people they're fed up with it. I'm fed up with it. Up to I ain't got no hair. You know, Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Charles White has no hair, but I'm fed up with it to the top of my head. Why would you leave your money for somebody to use and make money and not share any back with you? That's a problem. But I want to talk about these two issues here. The Federal Reserve Bank Deposit Act of 2020 allows banks to make loans without having reserves. They can make, in other words, they got a license to print money. Right on the local level, they can print money, make as many loans as they want, but they can't do that without deposits. They don't have to use their reserves or have reserves to guarantee the loans. No. Okay. But you got to have deposits. 4 weeks ago, Chase lost $80 billion in deposits. Just Chase alone, $80 billion. walked out the door looking for a better way. $80 billion. Okay, so the second thing this Reserve Act did was to let the banks off the hook. They don't have to keep vault cash anymore. When you walk in the bank and you want some money, they don't have to give it to you. They don't have to have it. They don't. Literally, by this law, they don't have to keep vault cash. Why? Because vault cash is, I call it money asleep, money sitting on the couch, not doing anything. That's what that is for the bank. If you look at it on the grand scale for the bank, that's money. It's like us, where we leave our money in the bank and it ain't doing nothing. That's the bank leaving its money in the vault, not doing anything. So the federal government acknowledged that that was not a good practice for the bank. You should be saying, if it's not a good practice for the bank, how could it be a good practice for you to leave your money in the bank, not earning anything, or in the brokerage firm, losing money? How could that be a good practice for you? Okay. So the second thing was no vault cash. The third thing is this, I've got these arranged badly. It says Fed Now, House Bill 14067, which was enacted, it'll be 4 weeks ago on Thursday coming up. 4 weeks ago, it actually went into effect. The first transaction was done at Chase Bank. Now they have a system like this in place in Europe. They're already doing it. They're already doing it. And they're trying to decide whether to charge for it. They charged $35 for wire transfers. But you see, I don't think there's a lot of banks that won't charge for this because it's all technology. This Fed Now system is the federal government's blockchain. I'll just say it out loud. It's their blockchain. They have to have this before they can do, I always say Fed Now, what next? Go up a line, it says CBDC. The CBDC is the central bank digital currency. That's coming. They hired MIT in, 2019 to develop a central bank digital currency. And the engineers and scientists at MIT are hard at work on this thing. Are they ready? No, but they got this Fed Now up and running. I don't know when they're going to do it, but let me tell you what's going to happen. It's not going to be, in 6 months, we're going to open up the Fed Now. No, it's going to come like a thief in the night. Believe me, they're going to call in the coins. Then they're going to call in the bills, starting with the lowest ones going up. And then we'll be completely off that. The problem you see is that 17% of the people of the US population, 56 million people, are unbanked. They rely only on cash. This could be a problem. So that's where we're going. Let's talk about centralized. Why are we doing this? So that was one of those questions. Why are we doing this? We're talking about centralized banking under government control, started in the 1780s. Who was that guy we looked at? Thomas Jefferson. That's when the country started. Then, because the government took control of banking from the very beginning. Then in 1913, the Federal Reserve Act, they tightened up the controls. This law created the central banking system. All aspects of banking were regulated until the Carter administration, when he just deregulated everything. I used to think it was Ronald Reagan. It wasn't. It was Jimmy Carter, okay, who did that. Maybe that's why he only did one term. Current bank interest rates. If you do a $2,000 deposit, this is dollars. Now let's keep our terminology straight. If you do a $2,000 deposit at a financial institution at 0.001%, which is what they're paying, I can't even calculate what you get. I don't know, 2 or 3 pennies at the end of the year. And that's an annual APY, an annual percentage yield. That's bank terminology. They own that terminology, annual percentage yield. And so let's look at what happens on the other side. Let's talk introducing decentralized banking technology. House Bill 14067, there it is again, okay? Let's introduce metaverse certificates. A $2,000, I need to change that slide. A 2,000 USDT deposit, rate of return, weekly rewards, 5% to 22% weekly payback rewards. That's our terminology, weekly payback, because they don't want us using theirs because they can't compete with us. And they get mad because all the money's flowing over here. They don't want that. They don't want us using their terms. Okay, we're not going to use them. Started in 2008, DeFi 2018, still looking into regulation. They want to regulate this side of the house. It's out of their control. If they don't control, you know what? If you don't, it's like gold. If you don't have the gold in your possession, it's not your gold. So there's all these firms that want to sell you gold and keep it in their vault for you and do all this stuff. Look, if it's not in your possession, it ain't yours, it's theirs. Okay. All right. Just be clear about that. Who are we? Like to welcome you. My name is Charles White. This is my wife, Gail. I'm Continental Executive on Gold Standard Partners. Gail is an executive in Gold Standard Partners. She's a certified training manager, a certified life coach, money empowerment speaker, and blog writer. And I've asked her to come in here next week. She was busy today because she's also a coach at the Christian Women's Job Corps in Arlington, Texas. And they keep her really, really busy. And they just launched their fall semester. So she can't come tonight, but she will be here. And she's got a money management empowerment tool that she has created. I sent you a copy, Mr. Dalcoe. If you might still have it. If not, holler at me. I'll send you another copy. So, and I'm a former registered securities principal. Who's that guy? Well, he's the guy when things go wrong at a brokerage firm. That's the one they bring the axe and chop his neck off. He's responsible for everything. All the people below the officers and directors, you know, all those people are responsible in some way to the securities principal. A former executive in banking, insurance, and securities, chartered retirement planning counselor. Well, that's where you spend a couple of years and they teach you how to take $1 million and withdraw 4% a year so that the money doesn't run out before the person dies. That's what they teach you. And they teach you how to structure it. It is ludicrous. The system that we're escaping is ludicrous. Okay. I'm also a certified financial education instructor and a proud member of Wealth Builders Worldwide. Why is everybody so mad at the United States? You know what? People are really, really, really angry with us because they look at us and they see this debt, 31.5, the number is like 32.5 now, trillion dollars. And then they look at our lifestyle and they see that we have stuff. We have nice homes, we have cars, we have clothing, we have cell phones, we have TVs, we have appliances in our homes, we have, you know, infrastructure, bridges, and we have all that stuff. And they're sitting over there in Iran, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia, and Russia, and China, and they're looking at us and they see this $31.5 trillion in debt, and they're pissed off. They're pissed off because they ain't got none. They don't have it. And we've used the money and run up this great big bill to keep our lifestyle going. Wow. They don't like it. And so they're brewing up. Have you noticed that gas prices have gone up here recently? They've gone up. Gas prices have gone up. Why is that? Because the countries that are outside of our sphere, our block, are angry with us, and they're going to do things to hurt us and try to take away our standard of living. But starting with the gas prices, Saudi Arabia and Russia collaborated and reduced the outflow of their oil production. They reduced it. What happened to us? Our gas prices went up as a result. You'll notice I went to buy gas today. It was here in Texas. We got a lot of gas and oil, over $4 a gallon here in Texas. That's big. So you got to understand that there are things out there happening, attacks on our dollar at our most vulnerable time. 31.5. This is 8 weeks old. I need to change this out. 31.5 8 weeks ago is already over 32.5 now. $1 trillion in debt. That's why people are angry with us. That's why they don't want the United States to be the reserve currency of the world anymore. They're fed up with us. The people in South America are fed up with us because of the dollar. We had an arrangement with Saudi Arabia, a treaty that said if people buy oil from you, they must pay for it with dollars. That's why they call it the petrodollar. Guess what? Saudi Arabia just broke the treaty. So what I'm trying to tell you, what I want you to understand, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just trying to enlighten you, to let you know that we have some difficulties up ahead, because there are people that are trying to unseat us as the world's reserve currency. And we have benefited, especially like Mr. Dalcoe said earlier, our great generation. We're not the greatest generation. That was a generation before us. They did World War II, but the boomers, I'm a boomer. I'm right in the middle, right in the middle. Okay, I'm going to get off this. I'm going to get done with this presentation because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's listen to these two ladies because
that
they got
you
some
say
interesting
and
things
have
to
been
say.
saying it's just one big distraction. So, kicking the can down the road for the debt ceiling, the banking crisis. But the question is always, what are they trying to distract us away from?
The next big crisis, which, I mean, who knows when we're going to see that. But the reality is this is the end of the current system's life cycle. And it actually died in 2008.
That's
and
right.
They just pumped a whole bunch of, garbage into the system to make it look like it's still alive and still viable when it's not. I mean, did you look at Zimbabwe, right?
Yep.
Zimbabwe's stock market is up 600% because people are trying to save themselves for the depreciation in the currency because the public gets it and they've been dealing with it for a very long time. But is the stock market really going to save anybody? No, because the only thing you can convert your stocks into is this garbage that they're devaluing. And that's the only choice that they have. And officially, we have 3 cents left. And if you go on the Fred, you just see that continue to decline. So that's official. When we get to zero, is that because the public has lost confidence in this currency, in this con game, is absolutely over?
And that brings me to my next point, because you've been very vocal and transparent about your views on the crypto industry. And I want to get your thoughts on the SEC's crackdown, throwing a 1-2 punch this week to Coinbase, to CZ's Binance. The bigger question I have for you, Lynette, is what you make of the timing of this. I mean, their FedNow system is coming out, and a lot of experts think that they're just trying to destroy the competition. Do you think
Absolutely.
that makes sense? Yeah?
Oh, makes perfect sense. In fact, it was either the IMF or the BIS, Bank for International Settlements or International Monetary Fund, their paper that basically was private crypto's bad. Federal Reserve, central bank crypto's good. So, they brought it out. It got in 2009 was when Bitcoin came out. So it was about getting people comfortable. Now we have, as you pointed out, the FedNow accounts going into effect in July, so very shortly. What we need is a ginormous crisis that scares the crap out of everybody, that they then pump a whole bunch of these CBDCs in and say, go spending, right? Because we're a consumer-driven economy.
Yeah.
Here's a whole bunch of free money, right?
You say bigger
And they're
crisis.
attempting to get adoption.
I'm saying bigger crisis than what we just went through with the pandemic.
Yes, I think that was a test to see how far they could push people and what they could get people to do. But yeah, bigger than that. It has to be. We need to change the entire system. And things don't look the same today as they did before, just like they don't look the same as they did in 2007 before the banking system actually died. So yeah, much bigger.
Bring it home for us with this. Just your thoughts on what, I should say the lack of action we're seeing in the gold price. Now, anyone who invests in gold really should not be tracking the price of gold daily, but I get the emails of why isn't gold higher? despite everything going on, Lynette, what's your take on what's happening here on the gold front?
It's truly so simple. Number one, what is currently happening in the markets is that the biggest debt bubble in history is in the process of popping. And the central banks are being integral in popping that massive bubble. While a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. And once you really understand that this stuff is going away, then you go to this stuff. But if you go to gold, it's outside of the system. And it holds no geopolitical risk and no counterparty risk. It is a proven inflation hedge. So do they want you to hold this? No, they don't. Why would they want you to do that? They can't just take it then.
And it's interesting, though, because we see central banks continuing to buy gold. In fact, World Gold Council just put out a survey that, surveying most central banks, saying they have no intention of slowing down their gold purchases, trying to pull an add in. But everyone will focus and say, oh, but Turkey sold their gold. And I know you speak about this.
Right, because, what is gold's function? Gold is savings. That's what it is. It's protection. What's Turkey going through right now? They need a lot of protection. So gold in Turkey, they're not selling it because they feel, they don't need it anymore. They're selling it so that they have access to the things that they need because nobody will take the Turkish currency.
Exactly. Well said,
It's
Lynette.
doing its job.
It's doing its job. Lynette Zhang, thank you so much for joining us today. Always appreciate your insights. Crazy.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says she wouldn't be surprised to see more bank consolidation. It's not happening like she thought. She thought that it would be the small banks consolidating into the big banks, but what's happening is that people are running their money out of the big banks into the smaller banks. So let's stay tuned and see what happens. I want to welcome you to GS Partners. Welcome to our global community. And I was going to play that. I'm so late tonight. I'm going to skip right through that. That was a presentation of our 10th anniversary celebration. So I want to welcome you to the new digital era. It's here with metaverse mining, meta trading, meta brokerage, meta estates, city developments, NFTs, meta markets, meta gaming, and so much more. Here's a history, kind of the story of GSP, Gold Standard Bank. So we're not talking about a company that's been around for a couple of years. This is 2013. It all began in 2013 when a group of visionaries set out to disrupt the gold and precious metal markets by creating a better way. So the first thing you want to see about these guys is they're visionaries and disruptors. They're visionaries and disruptors. So in 2014, GSP had invested significant funds to develop an ecosystem. Okay. The group then implemented blockchain technology in 2015, connecting dealers, refineries, mining enterprises, institutional buyers and sellers in a way that had never been done before. In 2017, preparations began to enable retail clients. In 2019, GSP gave the exclusive order to establish regulated trust and management company in Sweden. In 2020, oh my goodness, this is the year that Michael Dalcoe, the guy who's on here tonight, went to Mr. Haidt and said, we want to market your products. And so later that year, GSP developed new marketing platform modules based on blockchain technology, where each partner receives real-time rewards. The same year they introduced blockchain technology and listed it on several exchanges. This is an amazing. And so, Mr. Dalcoe, if I haven't ever told you thank you for what you did with Mr. Haidt, I want to tell you now. Thank you so much. In 2021, GSP continued to innovate with the development of the Lydian World platform. We talked about that earlier in this presentation. This Lydian World platform is now the center of everything that we're doing. It's the center. In 2022, GSB introduced world-leading brokerage development and interaction through several world-leading brokers, which gave us meta brokers and meta brokerage certificates. And in 2023, GSB launched Swiss Valorum Bank, one of the few offshore banks with an included, integrated, and regulated, big word here, regulated exchange in Switzerland. Okay, that's an overview of the GSB story. Let's look a little further. I want to give you a disclaimer. This presentation is for the exclusive purpose of educating the community members and users of the products, services, and potential rewards programs found on the GSPartners.global platform, powered by Swiss Valorum Bank. Now, I'm going to read that whole thing. You can take a screenshot of it if you want to, but I do need to let you know I'm not a financial advisor. There are no financial advisors on here. I don't hold a brokerage license anymore, so that prohibits me from being a financial advisor. I'm not a tax advisor. It would be ludicrous for me to give tax advice because we operate in 170 different tax venues, 170 different. So come on now, don't even ask me tax questions. And the last thing I want to say is I'm not a lawyer, and I don't give legal advice. And even if I did, I'd charge you for it. So let's move forward. I want to show you some stuff. This is GS Partners works all over the world with exclusive tech partners. Compliance is at the heart of our business. We operate in a highly regulated environment. We differentiate ourselves through good conduct, and we are well positioned to continue to thrive in an ever-evolving regulatory environment. Our partners currently operate in more than 150 countries worldwide in a regulated environment. Okay, let's do a market overview. What are we doing? How does this stuff work? Okay, GSPartners.global is a marketing hub. Think of it as a hub. You know, you've seen that hub and spoke like a bicycle. It has a hub in the middle, and it's got all these spokes out to different support points along the wheel. So this is a hub system, right? And the hub is GSPartners.global, and we're connecting communities to multiple sectors and industries. So out along the outside of our wheel are these multiple sectors, like the AI technology sector was a $1 trillion sector. The Forex market, which is a $5.3 trillion daily trading volume sector. The real estate market, $382 billion. GS Partners uses top-rated and industry-tested blockchain and AI technology to create a safe and secure, interconnected marketing hub. The crypto market at $1 trillion. The renewable energy market at $928 billion. The nutraceuticals at $382 billion market, and the online gaming at $138 billion. Here are the companies that we do business with. Swiss Valorum Bank, GSBV Swiss, Swiss Benes, CEX24, Vortex, Swiss Value, SkyGround, and WeroPay. These are companies that are springing up around us. And from what I've heard, they're going to be introducing an additional 7,000 companies into the metaverse by the end of the year. We'll see how that plays out. Now, here's the golden key. We've played up from there to here to get you to the Elemental Series certificates, the Elemental Meta certificates. More choice, more freedom. There are 9 price points, from $100 in the Terra to $100,000 in the Prana. We have listed here the $1,000 price water certificate. Now, the company is in a promotional period, and they have changed the bonuses. So I want to go to my personal dashboard and show you. I'm going to stop sharing this. I'll go to that, and I'll come back to this in a minute. And I'm going to ask Mr. Greene and Mr. McNeal to come back in and discuss these. Let's see if I can find that share screen. Where did it go? GS Partners. There it is. Mr. McNeal, Mr. Greene.
Yes, sir.
Can you come back and join us?
I am here and live in color.
All right. Mr. Dalcoe, if you want to come back, you can too. Elemental certificates. Let's look at them. My certificates. Okay. This is my little stack of certificates. And here's this is not where I want to be. This is where I want to be. I want to be at purchase. Purchase. All right. So this, you have a light, a Terra at $100. I can't buy one because I'm not in my first 30 days. Oh, did I mention they have special new member pricing? So this certificate is only available as a fast start bonus in your first 30 days. Then there's the light. You want to talk about some of these others, Mr. Greene? Let's
We
open
can
this
talk.
guy up.
We can talk about anyone you want to go to.
Let's
There you
talk
go.
about the water.
Steph, you there? See what Steph has to say. Oh, okay.
He's going to let you say.
All right. But the beautiful thing is, folks, when you actually use this money that's been sitting in the bank, sitting in your 401k, sitting in equity in your home, sitting in Mr. White, did you know? And I don't think people have actually rendered a good answer to me, but maybe you've been told. There's these things that some of the elders in my family would carry around, and they were coin purses. And then when we got older, they were maybe like piggy banks. And when the piggy bank got too big, guess what you did? You actually put them in a jar, big, huge 5-gallon jar. Can you hear me, Mr. White?
I can.
Do you
I
know
can.
those jars and piggy banks don't earn any type of payback weekly reward?
No, they don't. So what should you do, Mr. Greene?
I believe what you should do is take the money that's yielding those what's called lazy assets and put those assets to work that could yield you a weekly return. And sometimes people have thousands of dollars literally sitting in coins that they could put to work. And not only that, is do you know you're not literally buying anything? You're simply putting your lazy assets to work.
So
just amazing.
I equate that to, you know, that bad brother-in-law laying on the couch. He comes over, he knocks on the door, and he says, I need some place to sleep for a couple of days. I got thrown out. And so you let him in, and the next thing you know, he's sleeping on the couch, and you go to work, and you come home from work and he's still sleeping on the couch. He's got his shoes off, and he's clutching your remote control. You know your favorite remote control that controls your big screen TV that's in the den, and he's got it. Sleep on the couch, shoes off, feet smelling bad. And you know, Mr. Greene, that's that money in that jar, not working.
Not working for you at all.
Mm-mm.
So for the folks that are maybe new, you're simply making a deposit. And when you make that deposit, you would actually click on something that says exchange now.
Like
now,
here.
there's nothing that says buy. It simply says exchange now. And you're exchanging one depreciating asset into an appreciating asset. One goes down, one goes up. Very simple purchase. And then you load it. Now, in your fiduciary responsibility, Mr. White, when you went to a bank and you had a financial advisor say to you, or I'm sure somebody that is here now out of 183 people, 85 people, I'm sure they probably would have said something, or might be had somebody in the family or consider close friend. What would you say to a financial advisor that says, don't do this. This doesn't seem right. This is too good to be true. I've never heard of a return this high. What would you say to them?
Well, you know, I was a registered securities principal. I had 20,000 of those dudes. And so what I would teach them, Mr. Greene, is when somebody came in with a better idea, is to tell the client, you know, we have really good ideas. We just haven't found the right one for you yet. Let's take a look and see what we can find for you. And talk them out of walking out the door with the money. Why would I do that? Well, if I don't have the money in the shop, if the money walks out the door, we can't get paid on it anymore. That it's just as simple as that. We can't get paid on it anymore.
Now, there's an education that you taught us from the very beginning. There was a term.
Nomenclature.
That's it. That's it.
So if they've never seen it, because as a securities principal, I wouldn't let them see it, because I didn't want them to mistakenly mention something like that to a client. because then they'd be taking their money out the door. The other thing is that in the securities industry, we have a set of terminology, I call it nomenclature, that is just for the securities industry. Words like investment, words like rate of return, return on ROI, return on investment. All those terms belong to the investment industry. And not only do they develop those terms, they test on them too. And they issue licenses based on the test. And they charge us fees for being financial advisors. You know, financial advisors got to pay fees every year. The firm does. So do you think they're just going to let anybody do that without paying those fees? They're not going to. They're not going to. So I'm trying to keep my financial advisors in their lane. Stay in your lane. Don't go out there looking at stuff. You lose your license. They don't understand this. If you go to a lawyer or a financial advisor or a banker, they've never seen it because the bank doesn't want them to see it, because the brokerage firm doesn't want them to see it. They won't know. This is in Web 3.0. They don't know anything about this.
Let me ask you
let them know. Yes, go ahead.
Let me ask you this question. And for this is for some of the history buffs that are in the room. Do you know when Henry Ford decided to take us from a horse and buggy to a car with a vehicle, they tried to literally admit him to an insane asylum? Do you know why they tried to do that, Mr. White?
I can't imagine.
Well, there's something that we're doing now that the world has never seen before, which is similar to what the same thing Mr. Henry Ford was doing, which is something that they had never seen before. And you know what it was?
Innovation.
It was something that Dr. Best says there's 3 things in this world that's forever changing. That's 1, evolution. 2. So we have to remember, folks, if somebody's never seen this before, how can they say it doesn't work?
That's a wonderful point.
So I'm drawing the picture so people, because a lot of you here really simply need to understand is, if you do it, believe it. And you're here because it's working. We don't have people here on a Tuesday evening and sharing what we actually can see and not be able to prove that it works. I'm literally a disciple that's telling you to go and share. Even Judas, that was with Jesus, didn't believe. How many people that you think that you know that he's even in Jesus and they won't believe? See, folks, we're not looking to convince or sell. This is simply something that everyone deserves to do, but only a few will be chosen. And I want you to simply ask yourself, will you be one?
Well, why would they be one, Mr. Greene? How does this thing work?
Simply register for free to get into the system.
How does the certificate work?
The certificate works simply. All you do is exchange. It says right there, exchange now. It didn't say exchange later, doesn't it? Says exchange tomorrow. It says exchange now. NOW.
Well, what happens
So
after you exchange, Mr. Greene?
All you have to do is wait 7 days after you load it. See, now there's 2 working components here. You have to exchange now. You have to exchange now, and you have to load now. And the load is 1,500 USDT.
Right.
You have to be very, 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 very protective of this nomenclature, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
USDT.
Yes, sir.
So for the folks that are looking,
so I loaded it. What happens now? I mean, what next?
Oh, I thank you for asking. There's something right now, and I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard, 9 Central, 10 Eastern Standard Time. You'll find out tomorrow what's going to happen with this promotional bonus right here. There's a bonus that we actually get if you want to load a promotional bonus. You can do something that Mr. Dirk Zalman was always saying, and he said something that was always funny to me. It was called 10 times. We get to 10x our bonuses.
Unfortunately, this one's not available anymore, is it? We don't know that, do we, till tomorrow? It could be better, it could be worse.
That'd be correct, sir. That could be correct.
But we do know about this main load,
We
right?
do about the main load. The main
Okay,
is
so
not.
let's talk about what we do know.
Yes, sir.
So
And
it's
what you-
$1,500, and then what happens to my $1,000? You 1,000 USDT. Let me get the right words. 1,000 USDT. What happens to my 1,000 USDT?
You're going to earn 1.5% for 24 months.
I'm talking about
Sorry.
5,000. No, I'm talking about 6,000.
Your initial deposit is going to earn 5% on a weekly payback reward.
So it says weekly payback program on the price.
Price.
So
That
this
is correct.
price goes over here.
Yep.
And 5% for 52 weeks. How much is that,
correct.
Mr. Greene?
Well, if you want to really think of that's 260% a year. If you're talking per week, that'd be $50 per week, and for a grand total, sir, of $2,600.
Now, that's an interesting number. It is, because it's more than the price and the load. You get it all back in 52 weeks, huh?
Now, Nikki Nicole Knox just opened up a can of worms, folks. She just put into the chat for the ones that ain't looking. She said that could be from 5% up to, Mr. Johnson knows that's my favorite word, up to 22%. And that's per week.
So how do you get it up to 22%?
Well, let's just click where it says renewables. And those renewables allows you to take another 1,500 of USDT and add it on top. We can do what's called stacking. For the ones that remember, we have some burger places here in Seattle. And one that's famously known for their burgers is a place called Dick's Drive-In. And they have this thing that's called a Dick's Deluxe. This Deluxe comes with not one patty, but you get to stack two. It's something similar to what we do here. And all you have to do is pay a little bit more to have it stacked on top. It's the same.
Do I have to buy another certificate, or can I just main load it?
You can only buy one certificate, pay one price, but you can load as many that are here for your, as we say, can afford. Whatever your
Okay, so
pocket
then
can
I'm going to get 4%, an additional 4% on
an
the
additional.
price?
You get an
On the
additional
price?
4%
on this same $1,000.
That'd be
1,000
correct, sir.
USDT.
That'd
Okay.
be correct, sir. So you're paying.
Okay, what about this one here?
So you got 5 plus 4. Now you're doing 3.5. That's 12.5. When I went to school, that's 12.5%, sir. And you're paying an additional 1,500 USDT.
All right.
So now, so that's $4,500.
What
Just
about this one?
stacking. That's Meta Portfolio. Now we're looking at 15%.
Okay.
12.5 plus 2.5 is 15% on that same $1,000.
1,000 USDT. There you go. Okay.
And
so
for the folks, and now let's put this in perspective. If you're paying 1,000 and you're getting 15% on 1,000, that would be $150 on $1,000.
150 USDT. Yeah.
And I believe Miss Nicole Knox says yes. Sherry Brown would say yes, yes, yes.
And there's more. I mean,
there is more.
You could go all the way out here if you want. Now, there's some caveats with this one. These two work a little differently. In fact, these three work a little differently.
Yes, they do.
They work a little differently. So I encourage you to get back with the person who invited you to come and, let them help you structure what you're going to do. You sit down with a pen and paper, formulate your strategy. Formulate your strategy.
But don't do it by yourself.
Rolling, right?
Don't do it by yourself.
Yeah, ask questions. How does one get started in this program?
Well, they do. The person that invited them here, you want to get their link.
Oh,
very
important.
important.
What I have, you know what I have? I have. Let me go back. I have a certificate. I saved it. 2 of them, 3 of them now. I have 3 of them that are ready to withdraw or compound. Every 7 days, we get to go in here. It says load now. And I get to withdraw or compound.
Which means you can You can take it off the platform
Yes,
and
sir.
possibly pay a bill with this.
I bet that's what I've been doing.
So you're telling me this is real money?
I spent it.
Is that real bills?
Real money, real bills. I spent it. Okay. I spend it. I spend. I'm a good spender. I'm really good at this. Especially when people like Michael Dalcoe see it out and down in the corner, it says account credited. That's the money that I just withdrew going into my dashboard.
Folks, we really do have fun with this. And the
We
reason
do. It's
why
a lot of, you know what, people tell me that, you know, you have to do this every week. You know what? I will count my money every day. I don't care. It's one of my favorite things to do. There's the next one going into my account. This is how it works. And so I just withdrew 12.5% from this certificate because I have three sectors loaded. I didn't load this one yet, but I have 3 sectors loaded.
so you can buy as many as those certificates as you want and load as many as you want.
Yes, or receive for free. You know, there's ways to receive certificates for free.
Well, hold on now. Hold on. You're telling me there's ways I can literally earn a free certificate?
Let's go down here to where it says promotions. Look at this fast start bonus.
Fast start, folks. Now,
30-day fast start bonus. Okay. And this is a member only promotion. I want to highlight this. Mr. Greene, read that for me. What does that say?
If you take the highlighter off, it says member only promotions, but it also says must have an active GSP membership minimum 33 USDT. That means a $33 USDT to participate and be eligible for rewards. So simply,
Buy 3
I want
certificates,
folks. There you
get
go.
1 free. And not the lowest one you buy, but the highest one you buy.
Say that again. Say that one last time.
Buy 3
folks in the back.
certificates, buy 3 certificates, get 1 free. Get 1 free. That's a way to get a free certificate. This is how you build your wealth. And then this other piece over here, refer certificates. Okay, this is for new members. This is the 30 days fast start. They're building a community here and they want you to participate. Talk to your friends, talk to your brothers, talk to your sisters, talk to your ministers, your church members, your coworkers. Think about people. Make a list of people that you're going to talk to. Make a list. Call them up. I'm not doing this. Believe me, I'm not doing this because I earn money here. I'm doing this because my mission, Mr. Greene, is to liberate as many people as I can from this corrupt banking system.
Say that again.
My mission is to liberate as many people as I can from this corrupt banking system. You need something that pays out in something other than US dollars.
And this is protected by the blockchain, folks. For the ones that don't know, the blockchain pays instantly. For the ones that don't know why we do this on the blockchain, because the blockchain is autonomous, it's anonymous, immutable, meaning there is no VP, there is no chairman of the board, there is nobody that's going to come and not write that check and say, you know what, we didn't like the fact that you actually waited till the last minute on the MMA to take advantage of all those rewards that they pay out at literally 501.
Right.
So the idea is protect yourself at all times by being protected by the blockchain. Back to you.
Okay, we're done here. We're done here. I've kept these people way too long, except I wanted to give a certificate away to someone between 18 and 30 years old. Ms. Galispie, you still here?
She is.
She's here. Yep. She's still here.
I'm here. I'm moving.
All right. You're moving. Yes, I know you are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting when you have so many other things to do. We appreciate your time. I'm still looking for those people who said me. There they are. Here's a me.
Yep. I think I've seen Raven, Yolanda.
Raven.
Yep. And
Let's
there was
see.
a couple of more. Let me get
I'm
their
trying
name.
to, I'm going to make a list here.
Cage,
Yolanda.
Renee Bailey, Lynette, and it's seen. Is it Camarge? If that's Camarge, that's a very, very unique name. Never seen it before. And I hope I'm saying that correctly. Camarge, Soft IJF, Lynette, Cage, Renee, Raven.
I'm still looking.
I'm still looking as well. It looks like they're popping up as we're mentioning it. Now, how you want to do this, Mr. White? How do you
I
want to
don't
do
know.
this?
I don't know yet. What are you thinking?
I'm going to say, because we really can't, for the ones that are saying me, if you are chosen, we have to be able to prove that you are between the ages of 18 and 30. To be compliant, we definitely want to make sure that you are responsible to prove your age. DeAndre Walker, I'm 26. I'm DeAndre Walker. Got it. I'm 28, July 1995. I see iPhone, but there's no name with iPhone.
No
So
name.
there's no name. So if you can type your name in, and what we'll do, that's Raven. Okay, Raven, thank you. That's Miss Aristide Harrison's lady. If there could be, I think what we need to do is take the numbers, and we can actually have Miss Tannisha Galispie.
And announce it next week. What do you think?
Okay, that's perfect.
That's what I'll do. In fact, my wife has this program where she puts the names in and spins. Let's see. I'm still looking for names.
Okay.
Did you write them down, Mr. Greene?
Nope, I can take pictures. That's what I usually do. I take screenshots of everybody that said it, because then that has a better long-term memory than I do.
I get it.
And if you're not putting your names, unfortunately, you will be missed, folks.
That's right. No name, no. So 13309. I love you, babe, but no name, no.
She said, do a Zoom call with IDs. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do it with everybody, because we're going to do, whoever wins is going to actually already be the one, and we're going to do a drawing.
You taking screenshots, Mr. We can do a special Zoom for those groups, because they may have some questions.
Yep. I have Renee Bailey. Yep. I have all you guys. Let's do
Greene
this.
has you.
I have you. If you put your name, I have you. If you didn't put your name, Nima, Ken Andrews, keep going. If you're between ages of 18 and 30, we'll do this for another 30 seconds. And I'll go ahead and keep screenshotting everybody that's here. Sophia Johnson, I see you. Tylon Bates, I see you. Ken Andrews, correct? Yes. Should they have their memberships already
Alicia
paid?
Campbell.
Yes.
Yes.
Even if they don't pay their memberships, they're still going to get it deposited. So
right,
that won't be a problem.
Right.
So folks, we want to say thank you. Mr. McNeal, Mr. White, if you want to come give us your last words for the evening, and then we'll let the folks out to here.
Okay. Take action. You need something paying out in other than US dollars. You must, if you don't like this, go find something else. I like this, that's fine. But I'm not you. You have to find your comfort, right? So if you don't like this, go find something else. But find something that pays out in something other than US dollars. Okay? That's my last word.
Mr. McNeal, I believe he is here, but looks like he was knocked off of being a co-host. So if we can give him co-host real quick and allow him to have last words. We want to say thank you to Crown Ambassador, Mr. Mike Dalcoe, for bringing the fire. And we thank you. Ms. Nicole Nikki Knox, I appreciate you, because you're answering some questions in the chat. I see that already. Always got to have an accountability partner. And we want to say thank you for the ones that have joined. You'll have to be back next week to figure out who has won the prize of the free certificate. So by all means, we will contact you or the person that has actually referred you to this call. Anyone here that is looking to get started, please contact the person that invited you here. Happy birthday to iPhone, whoever iPhone is, happy birthday. But we want to say happy birthday to Fred Johnson here in Seattle. I believe it was his birthday as well. Anyone else? Don Slane, 29. I do see you, Don. Is that Dan? Yes, I see you. Let me go ahead and make note of that. And I see the birthday cakes are now dropping. Happy birthday again.
Here's the point of one of the other points of this. If you come onto a platform like this and you don't put your name in the box where it says your name, and they're giving away a prize, you don't get it. There's no way to give it to you, and I'm not going to even try. Identify yourself. That's the point.
And with that being the case, we want to say, folks, we want to say thank you. Don't forget, April 25th, 26th, we do have what we call Let's Go Weekend, number 12. It'll be the last one officially. So if you guys don't be there, you're going to miss a bundle of joyous fellowship. I call it a fellowship. I did see Dr. Rhonda Hollins and Mr. Hollins, Dr. Rhonda Hollins and Mr. Dr. Hollins.
David.
We want to say thank you, David Hollins. We want to say thank you for being here.
Yeah, those are my sponsors, Mr. Greene. Those are my sponsors.
That'd be correct, sir. That'd be correct. Anyone else?
You kind of think they're important to me?
Definitely. I do want to say thank you, because a lot of us are having a lot of success, and all simply we're doing is just sharing the plan. So with no further ado, we're going to say, if all minds and hearts are clear, thank you,